It's up to him. He gave me that opportunity to fight him. It's only right that if that's what he want to do, I'll give it back to him. Outside of him, I was looking.
Well, the latest is, we signed and contracted to do a rematch, and that's what it is right now.
Do you know when it's going to be, when we can hear?
I don't got no date right now, but I know that's the next fight.
The rematch between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. has become one of the most anticipated events in boxing, especially following their explosive first meeting in 2023. In that bout, Crawford delivered a dominant performance, stopping Spence in the 9th round to become the undisputed welterweight champion. Since then, fans and analysts alike have speculated about what the future holds for both fighters. Now, more than a year later, talk of a rematch is heating up, and this time, it could take place at a higher weight class. Tensions boiled over, recently when the two nearly came to blows during a face-to-face encounter, adding even more fuel to the fire. Spence made his intentions crystal clear. He wants revenge. And with emotions running high, the stage is set for what could be an even more dramatic second chapter in their rivalry.
It's in the contract, so it's not if I'm open to it or not. It's, what's in the contract. And Errol gave me an opportunity and a shot at becoming the first male boxer, undisputed, in any division in the 4-belt era. And I honor, that. And if he was to come to me or activate.
The first fight delivered everything fans had hoped for, and then some. Terence Crawford, entering as the underdog, showcased exactly why he's considered one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Errol Spence Jr., known for his relentless pressure and grit, found himself overwhelmed by Crawford's sharp timing, speed, and adaptability. It wasn't just a win for Crawford, it was a statement. He cemented his status as the undisputed welterweight king and carved out his place among the all-time greats of his era. Still, even in defeat, the story didn't end there. From the moment the final bell rang, a rematch loomed. Spence, unwilling to accept the result as definitive, remained confident that he could flip the script if given another shot, and that belief kept the door wide open for Chapter 2.
You gonna knock my first?
Because I don't want us personally, we talking about what we want to see. I don't want to see it. Because I know what it's gonna look like. The same as it looked last time.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Errol Spence wasn't the same.
What was wrong with him?
He looked slow. He looked he looked sluggish.
Why?
I can't tell you. I wasn't in camp.
At the division, he dominated for his entire career. All of a sudden, when it came time for this fight, he looked different. Why?
I wasn't in camp with him. I can't tell you. I don't know if his body finally broke down for being at one.
Spence, the loss was a tough pill to swallow. He entered the first fight as the favorite, having reigned supreme in the welterweight division for years. Known for his strength, relentless pace, and ring IQ, Spence had built an aura of invincibility. But against Crawford, none of it seemed to matter. Despite being in peak physical condition, he couldn't crack Crawford's puzzle. In the aftermath, questions began swirling about Spence's condition, leading up to the fight. Reports surfaced pointing to lingering effects from a serious 2019 car crash and a torn retina that had required surgery. While Spence never used these setbacks as excuses, many believed they played a role in his performance. Since then, Spence has maintained that he wasn't at his best that night, but insists he's addressed those issues and is now better prepared than ever for the rematch.
I want to see Bud be great, but what better buffer to see if Bud's ready at 68 than the EJ rematch of 54 and 60? And how exciting would it be to watch Errol Spence he walks at 190. I'm 185 pounds right now. I'm 5'11". To think of me cutting.
Forward to 2025, and the long-awaited rematch between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. is finally on the horizon, but this time there's a major twist. Crawford, who has recently bulked up while eyeing a potential clash with Canelo Alvarez, is now set to move up in weight. This shift adds a whole new layer to the rematch, as it's likely to take place in the junior middleweight division. Crawford's move up isn't all that surprising. Known for his disciplined approach to weight management throughout his career, the 35-year-old is now ready to test himself in a heavier division. A jump to 154 pounds could dramatically alter the dynamics of the rematch. For Spence, who's naturally bigger and more comfortable at that weight, it might provide the edge he didn't have the first time. But on the flip side, Crawford will come in with added power, fresh energy, and valuable experience fighting larger opponents, potentially making him even more dangerous.
to get this fight done. He gave up a lot of money on his side to have this fight at 147. If you look at the contract, this is a sport of contracts. Chris, you know this. You have signed contracts. You have tried to get out of contracts. The winner gets to dictate the weight. The loser got to put the rematch clause.
Of the most intriguing aspects of the upcoming rematch is the renewed confidence radiating from both fighters. Errol Spence, long respected for his relentless drive and toughness, has openly acknowledged that he underestimated the challenges Crawford brought to their first encounter. This time around, he's made it clear that he's been putting in serious work, refining his technique, improving his conditioning, and overhauling his entire game plan to make sure history doesn't repeat itself.
I feel as if, he would go back to the drawing board. He would come back stronger. He'll come back more hungrier, and he'll try to fix the things that, he needed to fix to make the fight look different in the second time than in the first time. I do believe that, but that's the only thing that I can actually.
Spence knows he possesses the power to trouble anyone in the division, but he's also fully aware that Crawford's boxing IQ is elite. To give himself a real shot in the rematch, Spence is zeroing in on sharpening his defense and preparing to handle Crawford's precise counterpunching. His confidence is at an all-time high, and he firmly believes that if he stays disciplined and sticks to his revised game plan, he can turn the tables and come out on top this time.
Spence, yo. I'm excited for this, man. It gives him a chance to hell out. Yo, in a hill, Errol Spence. Anybody.
On the other hand, Crawford is no stranger to confidence. After all, he's the one who dominated the first fight and silenced the doubters. For him, the rematch isn't about proving anything to the public. It's about adding another chapter to his already historic legacy. Known for his calm demeanor in the ring and his ability to outthink opponents several moves ahead, Crawford approaches every fight with a calculated mindset. He's not one to let a win inflate his ego. He's always looking for ways to sharpen his craft. A second win over Spence would only further cement his place among boxing's all-time greats, right alongside names like Canelo. What adds intrigue this time is Crawford's move up in weight. There's always a concern that adding mass could affect his speed or fluidity. But given his disciplined training regime and his commitment to maintaining the perfect balance of strength and agility, it's hard to picture him coming in anything less than dialed in. And there are a few reasons to believe he may be even more dangerous this time around.
There's a couple of reasons why Terence Crawford is doing this. Terence Crawford wants to go after Canelo or Charlo, because in reality, in his mind and in everybody else's mind, except Errol Spence and Errol Spence Jr. fans, he beat Errol Spence more than convincingly, which is, there's no need for rematches. There's
also a strong chance that the rematch will play out very differently from their first encounter. Crawford's dominant win over Spence in their initial bout was built on precision, timing, and masterful control of the pace. He picked Spence apart with clean, accurate shots and dictated the tempo from start to finish. But with Crawford now bulking up in preparation for a possible fight with Canelo, the dynamics could shift dramatically. Spence, who's naturally more comfortable at higher weights like 154, may have a physical edge this time around. At junior middleweight, he carries more muscle and strength, attributes that could amplify his already formidable punching power. If Crawford brings more size to the ring, it might lead to a more physical, hard-hitting showdown, one where both fighters are looking to make a statement not just with skill, but with raw power.
Immediate rematch clause?
I don't know if it's gonna be at 54 or 47, but I'm sure I'm sure he's probably gonna push the weight up. But there's no gonna be no change in the decision. The performance still is gonna be the same.